Hey guys, it's Rachelette from Moments to Milestones, and we are going to put together our latest paper pad card kit. This is a Christmas card kit featuring the Carta Bella Letters to Santa mega 6x6 mega pad. And we're going to create 7 cards with this pad. So you have plenty of leftovers in your pad to maybe make these again or do whatever you want with them. And this is the kit. There's the remainder of your pad and all the kits, and then the instructions are here with the list of supplies we use to create the kits. So we will get started with this Merry Christmas. So let's see, I have a little bag of die cuts. I'm not going to open that just yet. So we're going to start with this green plaid. There should be a sentiment embossed in silver. I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to put it so that I have white on both sides, the left and right. So just center it here at the bottom. Down like that. And then this is the piece that was cut out. We're going to flip it over and put down the snowflake side. All right. And now we're going to open our little bag of die cuts. And we're going to put together our truck. So let's see, the first thing we're going to do is, you should have this glitter snowbank and the 2 trees. So in your snowbank there are little cut openings, and I'm just going to stick my tweezers in there and kind of get it open, and that's where my trees are going to go. And I'm going to tuck those right in like so and glue them into the back. So let me just put a little glue right behind there. And I'm going to do my best to get them where they're straight up. And then I'll stick the little one in. Okay, it's going to look like that, and then that piece I am going to put down inside the circle. And I'm going to come up about, I'm not going to line up to the edge because we're going to have this frame around it, so we want as much of it to show as possible. So we're going to push it up about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. So, and that all gets glued down flat. And now we're going to put our little truck together. So the first thing we're going to do is trim off. So you have 2 pieces that look like this. So in this original die, it comes with a little rectangle that's supposed to be like your little tailgate. I have lost that piece, so I just cut 2 full trucks, and I'm going to trim off this part where it's scored. It's made to tuck things inside. I'm just going to cut that off, and I'm going to pop this portion up instead, and we'll get that same dimensional look. Get some foam and put a couple pieces on the back. And we'll just lay that right over where it should go. Okay, and now these are your Might be hard to see. This is what it looks like. These are your tires. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue across the top like so. And I'm gonna take this piece and sit it right on top so that it looks like that. And then you have this little silver bumper, and I'm gonna put glue on the back of that. And it is gonna go, so you can kind of still see some of that black, and it'll help you guide where to put that bumper. So all you should see of these tire pieces are the actual tires. All right, so there's our little truck. You should also have a little piece of vellum. So I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna glue down the vellum to the back. Let's just create the window. You could definitely do without this part. All right. And then finally, we have these itty bitty, they're green on one side, gold on the other. So I'm gonna flip them over here on my surface. These are your tail lights. All right, and then I'm gonna get my jewel picker. It'll be a lot easier to handle these, maybe. Oh my goodness, there we go. And I'm just gonna try to put the slightest amount of glue down here on my little truck. So the big ones go on the bottom. I'm gonna put one there and there. Hopefully that's enough. And there's your little tail lights. All right, so our little truck is done. I'm gonna just set him aside and let him finish drying, and we're gonna finish up this portion. So yesterday in class, I gave the option. So on my card, you can see, I don't know if you can see, I have my frame popped up for dimension. But with that comes some tedious work of trying to lay some dimension on the Merry Christmas. So if you want to fuss with that, great. If you don't, you could glue it straight down, or you could still pop up the frame and not fuss with the Merry Christmas. But like you can see here, this M is not glued down and it's trying to rip out. So I really need to get a little piece of foam, but you're gonna have to cut very thin pieces. So for time's sake, I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this down like we did in class. And then maybe you can see what you wanna do. Oops, I noticed my E is not poked out of my Mary, or the hole. All right. Glue everywhere. Okay, so now this piece is going to go down, centered. All right, so there's that. And your little truck is still popped up, so that gives it some dimension as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue on the truck. I'm just going to glue it straight down, but you could certainly add more dimension if you wanted. I'll just put him down right in the center. And then we have a little ornament topper. And so I'm gonna pop that up. And just set that right on top in the center. And then the finishing touch is this blue bow, and it's just going to go on top of the little ornament topper. So I'm just going to put some glue right there in the center and glue it down. And now that card is complete. All right, our next class is Seasons, our next kit is Seasons Greetings. So we're gonna start with, we'll put all those die cut pieces together. You should have this green snowflake paper and a red strip. So the red strip is right here at the bottom of the green. So you can do two things. You can put the red strip where you want it and glue it down, and then put the green on top, or you can, I'm going to put a little glue on the bottom of the green, and then just lay it on top of that strip and get what I want showing. Okay, and now I'm going to put that there, and if it's too long, like if it looked like this, you could just move it up and then trim off the top if necessary. But mine works. All right, so let's put this on. Okay. And now we're going to build up our sled. So you should have this large silver piece, and we're just going to glue that straight down. And it's just going to go right in the center. All right. And then you should have their floral on one side and wood grain on the other. These are your sled pieces. So there's 5 pieces across the bottom and a long piece for the top. So I'm going to pull this up here so that maybe you can see what I'm going to explain. On this silver die cut, there are little divots that the die cut makes. They kind of look like somebody almost poked a hole through. Now there are also these marks where they're raised circles, and these are from the holes that are in the die for me to be able to punch it out. But those aren't the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about these little divots into the paper. They're pressed in. So those are there to guide you for any of these sled pieces that have a hole. That little divot should show through the hole. So if I lay these down, I don't know if you can see or not, but right here, you can see that little divot is right where the circle should be. So that's how you're going to want to line them up. Now, I popped up my sled pieces, so I have some thin foam, and I'm just going to put some on the back. I'm not going to cover up the holes, obviously, so we'll start with this one. And I'm going to use those marks as a guide, and there's the first piece. And then you have this middle piece here, and they have holes as well. And on the die, this middle piece, there's a hole on the top and the bottom, but the hole on the top is closer to the edge. On the bottom, it's further away. So if that helps you with your placement, that is how it looks in the die. So I don't think if you get it wrong, it's a real big deal, but I just use the die as a guide. So I will put that piece down. Line up the holes. It's trying to stick and I'm not ready yet. All right, so there's the middle, and I'm going to do the 2 edge pieces. And there's a hole there and a hole there. Those are the same, so I'm gonna go ahead and put foam on all of these so they're ready to go. All right, so I put all the foam on those. So now I'm just gonna peel off the backing. I have one of the pieces with the holes. So those go on the end. And I'm just gonna match those up with those little divots in there. There's one. There's the other. And then these pieces. So they're kind of rounded. They're kind of pointy on one side. I believe that's the top, and then the bottom. So I'm just gonna center it and line it up with that bottom edge. All right, so there is a cute little sled. I just love this. This is a Spellbinders die. Okay, so now we are going to, I'm gonna set this off to the side and we're gonna go through our die cuts here. And we'll start with putting together the little ice skates. So you should have 2 black pieces, 2 white, and 2 of the blades. And then this is your string. So we're gonna start with putting the white onto the black. And it lines up at the top. Can't really see what I'm doing here. It's hard to see black on black. It lines up at the top so that you'll have the black at the bottom, like the sole, and then the laces line up. So do that again. All right, and then for the blades, I'm just gonna put glue on these 3 little dots or little circles, and then I'm going to set my skate right on top. So, and we'll do that again. All right, oops. I used enough glue there. Okay, so those are ready. So now we're gonna layer up our flowers. So you should have 2 red poinsettias, and so I'm just gonna shape them a little bit so they aren't so flat. I'm just gonna put those down on my mat and just press in on the back. And then I'm going to flip them over. Maybe. And then press down in the center in a little circle, and that'll pull all those sleeves up. And then I'm going to layer one on top of the other. A little glue in the middle. Pick that up, offset the petals. Press down, and there's my little flower, and then you should have a center. It's dark green on the back, yellow here. I am gonna flip that one over as well, and whoops, not this way, this way. So when I put that in there, it fits. And I will stick that down in the center. And there's my poinsettia. And then then finally, you have 2 pine branches, 2 holly leaves, and then you have these, they look like little branches. Those are kind of like the veins for the holly. And so put those here. And there's no perfect match for these. I tried them, they don't match up. So just lay them down and any old way. All right. Whoops. So now that we have all those pieces together, we're ready to assemble the greenery onto the card. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put a little dot of glue right here in the center of that wood, and I'm going to take my skate strings and just put those right there in the center, like so. And then you should have 2 pine branches, so you're going to have 1 and 1 and 1. So I will lay those down. One there. There. And then the holly. And then the flower is going to go right in the center. Perfect. And then we'll finish with our skates. So you're just going to lay them right over the strings there. So this one here, and I'm gluing this one straight down. And then this one that's out front, I'm going to pop up. Just like so. And that card is finished. All right, our next card, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. All right, let's put the base together and then we'll worry about those die cuts. So the first thing we're gonna do is put down this green frame. And we just conserve paper here. There's no particular reason for it being a frame. All right, so and then this plaid is going to go right over that, and you should have a dark green border around the edge. And then you have this sentiment, and we're going to put that on the dark green. And it too should have a thin dark green border. And then that piece is just going to lay right on the card, and I'm going to kind of turn it. You could put it on straight if you want. All right, so there's that. Now we're going to open our little goodies here. Oh, and I'm just remembering I forgot to cut my little berries. Oh, that's okay. So you should have berries in your kit. I believe they're on Post-it tape, so you'll need those. So I am going to pull out all the things that we aren't going to do anything with, like no layering. So all the holly leaves, all the pine branches, and there's some regular looking leaves. We don't need those. So you should have 2 large red flowers, 2 smaller red flowers, 2 tiny white ones. You should have 2 of these green long stems, 2 of these little buds, and then 2 branches with circles on the edges, or and all those places you should have a little post-it. They're green on one side, red on the other. They're little berries. You'll have 2 extra. That's just the way they cut out. But go ahead and layer the red berries on top of the circles so that you end up, so you can have these berries here. I don't have those with me right now, so I'll have to add them later. It's not a big deal. And then, so we'll do these 2 buds. So I'm gonna put, a little glue on this bottom little edge here. I'm going to take these green stems and just glue them right on, so they're going to look like that. Do that again. And then I am going to shape these larger flowers a little bit. I'm going to do it delicately because they do have a lot of detail. So I'm just gonna kind of pounce on them. I don't want to pull too hard because I don't want to rip the detail. I'll flip them over, press a little circle in the center. And I'm going to layer them up. I'm just going to offset the petals. There's no perfect way. There's one. And there's 2. So now we have 2 flowers. And then before I get rid of those, these 2 little white flowers are going to go in the center. So I'm going to flip those over. Nope, I keep wanting to flip them over. I don't want to flip them over. I'm just going to press in the centers, maybe with my smaller ball. Pull up those edges so that they'll fit inside. One is slightly smaller than the other, if you can tell. If not, there's no big deal. So there's that flower center and that flower center. All right. Are done. And like I said, you need to put the little yellow or red berries onto those, and then we will be ready to assemble the card. So I put the largest flower up here the top, and so I'm really just gonna put a little glue on the back, wet glue. You'll have some wiggle room. And then we're just going to start tucking stuff in. So I have this larger holly leaf. I'm going to put that back in there. And then I have another one coming over here. Let's see. I think you have 3 of these, so I am going to use, 2 of them are lighter and one's darker. I'm going to put the darker one down here. So, And I do know these have really long stems, and I don't need them to be that long. So I'm going to trim those off so I can just tuck them in. And put one there. And the other one coming out the other side. All right, and then we have these itty bitties. Put some glue, tuck that in. I am gonna trim off some of that long stem too. I know that is coming out of here. So, I think I used the other larger regular leaf in here. Looks like it's right back there. One of them's going to be down here. I'm just going to make a little pile of what goes over here. So that, both of the rest of the pine branches, the other one of those. I think this is in here as well. And these I cut up. So like down here I have a bunch. I have a bunch of them here and a little bunch there. So like this is a good one. You could trim right here. So you end up with, actually I'll trim it down here. So you end up with this piece of 3. It's going to go there. This piece is up here, and like I said, I'll add my berries later. I'm just going to tuck those in like so, and then I don't have berries on there. Looks like I have another holly leaf in there. There. All right, these 2 lighter green hollies are in this other bunch down here. And then the last thing are these black branches. And I'm just going to tuck those in. It's really just fill in the holes, so I'm going to stick one there. Oh, and I have another. I have this too. This other holly, or not holly, berry bits. I'm going to put there, and then one more little branch. I'll stick that right there. All right, so the top one's done. And really you can't get it wrong. You just lay flowers until it's pleasing to you. You kind of fill in the holes. And the nice thing about this is there's printed flowers on there, so there aren't as many holes. So I'll start again with the flower. I'm going to put it right over where that one already is. Trim off this branch, and I may have trimmed off a little bit more, it looks like, because it's pretty big. So I'm going to take, I don't think I'll need that. And we'll start tucking things in. So he's right in there. And these other 2 branches, these are a darker, different pine branch. Those are going to go here. There. And I know that's going to need trim down as well. And then we have our berries coming out down here. And I'm going to put this other branch, or this other leaf. Let's see. You know, I'm going to use this piece that I trimmed. I don't think I did in the original, but it feels a little open right in there, so I'm gonna stick that in there. Like so, and then this leaf was right in here to break up all that dark green. And then the last little bit that we have is, oops, it doesn't want to stay in there. There we go. It's this flower, and we have that coming in there. So let's see if I need to trim it down anymore. I'm going to trim it just a little bit more. All right, that card is complete. Okay, our next card is Sending Peace, Joy, and All Things Merry. And so let's start with the base. So we'll put down this, it's like a green, kind of looks polka dots. I think they're little diamond shapes. And put that down on the white card base. All right, and then you have this, yours won't have the stamp pad that I dropped on there. Yours will just be green, but what you're gonna do is put that behind this floral piece so that, I'm just gonna put some adhesive right there. So that about 1/8 of an inch is showing from the top. You wanna be able to see the sentiment at the bottom, and it's a little bit shifted over from the edge. It's not lined straight up at the edge. So I am trying to hide the green ink or the black ink as much as I can. All right, looks good, looks straight. And then this piece here will go straight down. And then that, it's probably about 1 inch from the bottom, like this floral. Okay, before I put it on the wrong way, I'm gonna, that looks good. So now it looks like that. And then you have this word sending cut out of gold, and it is also on foam, the scrapbook adhesive foam sheet. So the trick to this really is to push from the back forward very slowly, very carefully, and just be patient with it. And that's how I like to do it. So push from the bottom. It is very thin, and you don't want to tug too hard or you're going to misshape your foam. All right, so now I've got that out, and then before I put it down, I'm going to, and then one thing, you could have done it before, but I'm going to just take my little tweezers in there and pull out the middles of everything. So I find it easy, even like a little piercer. You just poke in there and pull it right out. And you don't have to worry about pushing. The back's gonna come right off. We don't need to worry about that being all the way through. Do this big piece. All right. So I have all those little pieces out. And so now I'm going to pick it up carefully. And we're going to carefully remove the backing. And it should come off easy. You just don't want to tug too hard and misshape your foam. It is very sticky, so you don't want to hold on to it real tight. Like I barely have it on my finger. And I'm just going to pick it up by the D. And then I'm going to layer that so that it sits right over. I don't want to cover, like I'm trying to keep the S, and I want to have it so that, all right, I'm going to hold it like this instead. All right. So the G goes right at the end of the Mary and also right at the bottom, and then just kind of let it land. And you can maneuver a little bit to get that S where you want it. Perfect. There it is. Sending peace, joy, and all things merry. And now we can put on, I want to do that first before we put the envelope on, is if you put your envelope way down here and then you can't put the sending on. So before we do this, I'm just going to toss that. Before we do this, actually, I might use that to pop up my envelope. Okay, I'm going to use some antique linen distress oxide ink, and I'm gonna ink up my envelope. I don't want it to be that white. Maybe a little too much, but so you can go as heavy-handed as you want, or you could use a brown or a black, whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to get the look of an old envelope. Okay, just gonna clean that up a little bit. Oops. Okay, should be good. And now let's put this together. So I'm going to use this foam right here. I'm just gonna cut it up. Pull off the back like that. And then I didn't put foam on the flat, but you could on the top, and I didn't so that I could tuck things in there if I needed to. It's up to you. But I did tuck a little, but really, if you just trim off what's, hanging off, you'll be fine. All right. And then I think I'll put one little bit up here at the top. Like so. Now, because it's paper on the back, I'm still going to have to use glue, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to take it and put it in the center, off to the side, and put that down. All right, and so now I could still tuck things in if I wanted to. Okay, so now we're going to open up this little bag of die cuts, and there's lots of little bits to put together. So be very careful dumping it out. All right, you should have this big gold flower with the white. Those go together. All the branches we aren't going to do anything to. We can put those off to the side. You should have some holly leaves off to the side. A couple regular leaves. 2 red poinsettias. A bow. These 3 little yellow flowers we're not going to do anything with, so you can put those over there. And then, all right, so you have, this is what you need to, they're green on one side and red on the other. They remind me of some cartoon character, but I don't know what it is. But you want the round part at the top or at the bottom, and this crazy looking, like I think of a head with crazy hair. And then you have these pieces, they're black on the bottom, they look like little donuts. And those are going, there's one, and there's one. Okay, so these pieces are gonna get glued on the top like so. I'll put some, way too much glue. Glue there, you just lay it down. All right, so you're gonna do that for the other 4. And then you should have 6 of these pieces. So I'm gonna turn them so the flat side is on the top. These little buds. This is the flower center for your poinsettia, so I'm gonna put that over there. And then these go on here. So what I'm gonna do is you have this big long branch, and I'm gonna put glue, I'll just do 2 to start with. And they go over these flowers, so just like so. So you're gonna lay it down, pick it up. And I will repeat that for the other 4, and I'll be right back. All right, so I put all those little flowers onto that branch. I put all the donuts on top of those, and then I'm just going to glue those little flowers onto this berry branch that we used earlier. All right, so there's that. And then we're gonna finish. We need to layer up the poinsettias. So again, if you want to shape that, you can. I think I'll take the time. Layer them up. Okay, and then this little yellow blob goes in the center. It's a little flower center. It goes in the center of the poinsettia. So just push in the center so it'll fit in there nice. All right. And then the last thing we're gonna do, I'm also gonna add some color to this white die cut. It's too white for me. Mainly to the edges. Okay. And then this piece goes onto the solid gold. And then in your kit, you should have had, oh, I think I had to give mine away at class. You should have a little, it looks like a little star, kind of like this. It should be on Post-it tape. It was not in the little bag of goodies, but it'll be in the actual envelope that your card kit came in. And that goes in the center. I can add that later. All right, so now we are going to layer all these goodies inside of our little envelope. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to put one foam square in the back, and actually that I'm going to tuck in there. And I'm just going to start with that and kind of work around. And then I just put one so I can tuck things in behind it. And so I know that big thing goes in there, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. Okay. one. And like I said, these are always too long for me. I'm just going to trim them off so I can tuck them in there. So we have one coming there, and the other one I think coming out of the top. So one thing I also like to do, well, I'll stick with the wet glue. Sometimes I'll use like a a removable tape runner and get things where I like, but since I have a little cheat sheet I can lip off of, I'll just go for it. So I think we have one of these back there. There's two tall ones and two short ones, so they have the same look, but if you need height, then use the taller ones. So I think that maybe this might be another big one, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna wait. No, I think I have one right back here, so I'm gonna tuck that one there. And then these two regular leaves, there's a long one and a short one. I know those go in right behind this flower down here. There's one. Like so. And then I think we have another little branch right there. This I cut in two, so I'm going to snip off these bottom two like so, and then we have three of them, and they're going to go right in there. But I'm going to tuck in the holly first. Let's see, this other flower goes right there. So I think I'm ready to put that in. I'm gonna put this down, I guess that's not glued. And then these, I think I have those in like so. And we'll finish with some hollies. Oh, I have one more of these. Let's see, I had one here. I'm gonna put that in here. But I'll finish. So you have two large and two small hollies. So I'm gonna fill in, I don't like all that white right in there, so I'm gonna put a large and a small. Fill that in, and then I'm going to put another one. I'll put a small one right there. And I think I have another one right in there where it's empty. There we go. And then I know these kind of go in here and fill up some of that dead space. And there's one that goes down here. And then this last greenery piece I'm going to tuck in there first. Perfect. All right, so then this little bow, if you want to put it in there, I did cut a little piece of foam, so I'm going to take a foam square, I'm going to cut it in half and then in half again. So I have this little tiny square, I'm going to put it in the center of that bow, and I just kind of put it down in here. And then we'll fill in with these flowers. I think I might, where do I want this last one? And I'm pretty sure I put those flowers on foam as well, these little yellow ones. So I'll put the foam on there. Like that. And then I have one more. What do I do with it? There it is. And I think it's down in here. So I'm going to glue that down so it quits sticking up. And I don't like that spot right there. I'm going to fill that in instead of where I had it. All right. That looks good to me. So that card is completed. All right, our next card, 'Tis the Season. This one will go together pretty quick. These are Pink Fresh Studio ornaments, and they sell, if you're familiar with them, they have lots of stamp sets that have a stamp, a coordinating die, and coordinating stencils. And so I use those three things to create these ornaments. We're going to use them again in a couple, on our very last card. So you get 1, 2, 3, I'm going to count, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ornaments. It stamps them all out at once. Then you can stencil them. You can color them regularly. You don't need the stencil. And then the die cuts them all out at once. So that's what we did here. I used Lawn Fawn Artichoke ink on those, on all 3 layers. So it just got darker with each layer. And so that's how we're going to create this card. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to glue anything down yet. I want to figure out where my strings are going to be. So I'm just going to lay this down. Like I said, I'm not gluing anything down. And I'm just going to get my placement. So I have this one here, up there, and this one is going to be right there in the center. So what I'm going to do, I have a T ruler here and a pencil. And with those in place, I have a little bit of like washi tape here. I think I'm just going to hold those in place so that I can draw the lines. And I'm just going to take my T ruler and find the center of that and just draw a very light pencil line. Okay, I can remove those and take this off. And now I have a black zig pen here. This is a 0.5. And I'm just going to go in and make those lines dark. So it's okay if we go down a little bit, right? So I'm just going to go where they are, go up. And I'm going to come over and then I can erase my pencil lines when I'm done if they're showing. Okay, so there's my lines. Just let them dry for a minute and then I'll erase them. So now I'm going to put foam onto the back of my frame. All right, so I got all the backing removed off that frame and I'm just going to lay that down onto my card base. All right, now my strings are right where I want them. And so let's find our little ornaments. I don't need that washi tape anymore. And so these here that are poking out, I'm going to need foam on the back. So just on the one side, and then glue on the other. We'll start with this one. And you know what? Let's start with this one because I drew my lines a little bit longer than what I originally did, so I will start with this one. And then this one. And then that one. And that one's going to need foam on the other side. All right. So those are on there. So the last little detail I added to this card would be if you want to add glitter. I used a white gel pen and gave accents to my ornaments. So I'm just going to go in and add some white to them, really, so they kind of match the paper. And then you can go crazy, as little or as much as you want. So the other thing I did do was add like highlight marks. So and I did that here as well. And whatever else you want to do. And then a glitter pen would also be good here. So I'm going to take this Lawn Fawn glitter pen and I'm going to add glitter just to the little toppers. And that'll be good. You could certainly use real glitter here and really add quite a bit of bling, but that is going to do it for this card. All right, so we have this fa la 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 card. This one should go together pretty quick. So you have this floral paper. Actually, make sure my card's opening the right way. And we're going to put that down. And I have a thin white border all the way around. And then we are going to, this is going to go on top. So I'm going to use it as a placeholder. So I'm going to put that in the center. And I'm going to come down a little bit more than centered because I want to leave room for that frame. So about an inch down from the floral. And then I'm going to put foam on the back of my frame. Okay, I've had all the backing removed from my frame. So now I'm just going to lay that over the little sentiment square there. That's not straight. All right. And now we're going to layer up our bow and flowers. So here, if you wanted, you could ink up your bow. Maybe I use scattered straw. This probably is not going to show up. Yeah, I use scattered straw, which I don't have down here. So I'm just going to not ink it. It'll be fine. This is a Tailored Expressions die. It does have these little kind of scored lines. They're not really score lines, but embossed lines. But I like to bend on them. It just creates a little dimension. And then what I'm going to do is put these, I'm going to put a foam square behind back here. Is that going to be too big? A little. So I'm going to need to cut it down. So let me take a foam square, cut it in half. And then I'll put like so, tear off the backing. And I'm going to take these two bow pieces and get them how I want them to look. They really can touch at the top. like that at the tip. And then I'm going to lay that on top and it'll pick up the bow pieces. And then that bow is going to go down. And then I'm going to put a foam square just to keep the dimension in that bow on each side, so that when I glue it down it looks like that, and it'll keep that dimension of the bow. So I'll go ahead, pull those off and stick that down. And then really, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to cut another one in half. And you're going to want one on the bottom of each string, because it's up on that, because this is up on foam. So, and you could put it in the center. Actually, I think I'm going to put this one in the center. See how I like that. So press those down. All right, and then this green bow is going to go right on top of the gold one. Like that. And then we have some flowers. I'm going to shape those to give them a little dimension. So I'm going to flip them over. Push and pull on all those. Flip it over. And these flowers are also part of that same tailored expression die. It comes with some greenery pieces, the flowers, and the bow. All right, I'm going to put that flower inside of that one. And then on this flower, whoops, we used prills on the center. So we have some mini, what is the color? Heart of Gold. And I'm just going to put a little dollop of glue in the center. And let's see, I'm going to hold it like that, get a little spoon. Spoon some pearls on there. I like to let it sit for a minute. Tap off the excess. Now we have a cute little flower. And I am going to put that flower in the center of the bow to finish this card. Perfect. All right. That card is completed. So you can decide which you like better, if you like it centered. And I think I do like the dimension that inking gives. So if you wanted to do that, I believe that was scattered straw. All right, one final card here, Deck the Halls. We have a slimline card. And we are using the remaining ornaments that we talked about earlier. So let's start with this. I'm going to put some glue on the back. So the front would be obviously where the sentiments are. And I'm going to put glue around the squares, and then we're going to put in these so that we'll be able to see the red snowflakes in the windows. So it'll look like that. We're going to put foam on the back of this. I'm going to put down this black paper, black cardstock. Onto the white card base. All right, so the black is down, and now we're going to put this piece right over the center. Pull off the backing. It's going to go right in the center. Perfect. And then I'm gonna add this Deck the Halls. It is on white paper, again on the paper on the foam. So I'm gonna push up from the back to get those out. I'm gonna start with the, well, let's see. I'm gonna lay them down where I want them. This one I already pulled the backing off of. And then it does have some little, like there's a little center in between the T and the H. I want to get that out. Oh, it's not. Okay. So we're just going to center it over 'Tis the Season. So Deck the Halls. And this Deck the Halls, these sentiments come from that same stamp set with the pretty ornaments, so it's kind of fun. And then I think before I put these on there, I'm going to go ahead and add my accents like I did before. So with the white gel pen, I just went in and added some white detail. All right, so I just added a little bit of white to each ornament. And then here I have some Zizix. Oh, it's just like a clear, I thought it had the name on the back. I guess it doesn't. But I'm going to add glitter to the tops of all of these ornaments. So I have a Zig two-way glue pen, and I'm just gonna put glue on the little topper and just dip it in there, shake off the excess, and that will add some bling. I mean, you could add it wherever you want. This is nice and easy. I don't have to, I can just dip it right into the little pot and I don't have to worry about a big glitter mess. Last one here. All right. And so this, you can see, oh, you can't see, on this card, I did the same thing. I drew in the lines, and I actually did this one after I had glued down the ornament. So it's entirely up to you. You don't have to put the strings on there if you don't want to. You can place them out, then draw the lines, and then go back. Maybe you want to do it before you put foam on the back. It's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put mine just like I had them before. And I don't think they are all glued straight down. So none of them are popped up at all. So I will just put them where they were. This one's down here, this one's here. All right, so those are all on there. So the finishing touch would be the strings, and I'm just gonna go in with my black pen right away and my ruler and find out where that center is. Draw the line, just like so. And I'm just drawing it on the white and the red. You don't really need to draw it on the black too. That one doesn't need one. And the T square ruler is nice because then you know it's straight. Just butts right up to the edge. Voila, we have strings. card is finished. That completes our video for today. I hope you enjoyed this card class. I had fun making it. A little early for me for Christmas, but that's the way it goes. If you are interested in a kit, you can head to our website, www.frommomentstomilestones.com, and you can search for our kits there. This is the Carta Bella Letters to Santa. Thanks so much for watching.